not hard to find. Strong arm tactics so loud, only themselves in mind. Every player has dreams of making Orca fame. They'll live on in the minds of those who get in their way. Orcas all say, don't come for me. Mid-merge boots, they're so vain. As we set up the podcast webcam, the pod is here to talk Orca game. Orca King CK with delusions of fame. In this LRG world, he's the apex predator. Danny and Jules in tow, always ready to go. Now it's time for the show. They're the apex predators.
Hello and welcome to the Orca Pod, the Apex Predators of Australian Survivor LRG podcasting. Here we are for the second episode of Sydney Survivor, extroverts versus introverts. It's a wild episode and I'm sure our panel will have much to talk about. Some housekeeping to begin with. Due to popular demand and lack of willingness for people to come onto the show, Twelsh is postponed. I know many of you are going to be devastated by this revelation. We will still do Twelsh. If anyone wants to come and take me on or take Jules on, Twelsh is available. But until we have people that want to compete, there's no game. However, of course, when we get the Boots on the show, they have every chance to take on the Twelsh adventure, and we encourage those Boots, those in the chat that are part of this season, to brush up a little bit of Survivor knowledge and come and take me on when you eventually come and talk to us about your experience. There's a lot to get into with this episode. It was short, but action-packed. Joining me, as always, for our Sydney coverage, Mark is unavailable this evening, but never fear, we have two fantastic people joining us. Let me welcome first the Orca of Canberra Survivor 3. Loz, welcome. I'm sorry that I messed up the times and have ruined your evening. I can't hear you though, that's sad. I'm particularly sad about that. Well, she gets her audio sorted. She's sort of frozen. You good now, Loz? Can I hear you?
Can you hear me now?
Something? I think it's working.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Is it
welcome.
working? I don't know why my
Yes,
AirPods don't work. It's really frustrating.
Yes,
why don't they not work? Where is the tech support?
They're no good. They just don't work. I've had issues before. And there's a bit of a do there. Without further ado, let me welcome the Orca of Backyard 4. Josh, welcome.
Hey guys, how's it going? I need to get a ring light. Oh, Loz, you're just looking like radiant, and I'm just like.
Am I? This is what holidays do.
I have a ring light, but I feel like it's really washing me out. I feel.
No, it looks good.
Making my nose red.
Trust me, this is not a ring light. Sure. This is some very lovely
Loz looks good.
lighting. Do I look good?
I agree. Loz looks good. I don't know about myself.
Thank you. That's nice.
I'm gonna turn it down. Maybe that's better. Okay, so a lot of action in this episode. I was shocked that for a group of people that seem so disparate, so unconnected, that it was a 4-4 vote. I'm not so shocked about that because no one seemed to really get the numbers organized. But the fact that it then went to a 3-3 blew my.
CK.
Loz is having internet issues this evening.
No, that was not me. That was you.
No, that was you, CK.
What? I'm having internet issues. You guys hear me at all?
Yeah, it's okay. I can hear you.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. You just had a moment.
Is it breaking up?
It sounded like a duck cracking a little bit.
Did you hear what I said at all?
Yeah, something about 4 and then 3 3.
I'll go again. The tribe seemed so disparate and so unaligned that there was not clear. It didn't feel like there were two clear alliances. That I was shocked that it went 4-4 and 3-3.
Yeah.
I wasn't shocked. I thought it was absolute pure introvert chaos. It was a whole bunch of introverts who were desperate for somebody to step up and make the decision for them, to say, this is what we're going to do. This is how it's going to go down. And no one did it. And so no one knew what to do. And what did we get? We got 2 people's names thrown out that there was no good reason for either of them. And then everybody stuck with it again for no good reason, other than they were the only names they knew. And then they got together and had a lovely introverted discussion about, well, we think you should all just agree to get voted out. And they all agreed. And it was so lovely and warm and fuzzy. And I would have been swinging fists. If they had tried that on me, the clause would have been out. There was no way there would have been an anonymous agreement, completely across the board. Everyone's like, yeah, no worries. Off you go, Joe. And Joe's like, no worries. Thanks, guys. I might get back in. No.
Oh, there's nothing I hate more than you'll get back. You'll win the edge of extinction. Like, fuck you. Don't put me out. Don't put me in that situation.
So agreeable to it. Oh my God. It was so. If you look up introvert in the dictionary, that tribal council is what you're going to see.
Yeah, basically.
Josh, what did you think?
Yeah, I agree with what you guys said. It was like very kumbaya and everything. And I was like, if that was me, I was going off. But that's why I'm not an introvert. But I did think that, it seemed initially that there was sort of 2 alliances and that Tilly maybe was kind of in the middle of things. But then how it played out was just
nothing. No alliance.
She's like totally screwed now.
Yeah. I had to watch it back twice to work out who had voted for who, because none of the votes made sense to me.
Yeah, I had to write it down and like go through the final words bit where they have their votes, and I was like, okay, this person, okay, I got it.
Sorry, I'm just trying to work out this weird audio happening. The tech is not cooperating this evening. I was also confused. I was so utterly confused that the votes came out this way. The fact that no one flipped shocked me. There was not 2 tight alliances of 4. And I hear what you're saying about no one taking charge, and that's how they got in this mess. I think you're absolutely right, Loz. But how could they possibly get a situation where nobody flips their vote? Not one person in that 6. Who are they worried about? Who was so closely aligned to Joe, and who was so closely aligned? Was it Morgan that got the other votes? That they wouldn't flip.
But again, there was no plan. That they went with the name, which was the only name they'd heard. It was because when there's no strategy, why would you flip it? There wasn't a strategy to vote those people out in the first place. They were just names that were thrown out.
Yeah, from my notes, it's like there was a narrative where there was meant to be like a majority 5 that was mentioned a couple times. Tim mentioned it, Morgan mentioned it, and Beck. And that was meant to be Tim, Morgan, Beck with Tilly and Chris. And Tilly mentioned a few times she feels the tightest with Chris and with Tyrone. So I really thought that was where it was going to go. But then Tilly was one of the people that ended up voting for Morgan. So it was a lot going on.
I thought the interesting thing was a few people made the comment, "Oh, I haven't really talked to that person, so I'm voting
So
for
I
them
think the
because
duck noise might be coming from you.
Who?
I feel the duck noise. I'm trying to get the tech here. Is coming from Josh potentially.
Hey,
I'm not sure.
is
What is that
it?
beeping? Tech is not being friendly tonight.
I've got the same setup as usual. It's usually fine, isn't it?
what noise can you hear? I can't hear anything."
It's like a duck in the background, like echoing when we
Okay,
speak.
and I'm going to let you guys take over the show for a moment. Dangerous behavior. But
Okay. Oh my god. I'm scared. Okay. Yeah, so it's just us here. So yeah.
Can you still hear it when I was muted?
Oh wait, yeah, I can hear it when I talk. A bit of feedback. So maybe it's you, Loz. Sorry, Greg. Love you. Okay.
Can you still hear it now?
Let me just talk. Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. I can't hear it, so maybe it is me.
It's not that bad, really. It's manageable. Greg, can you hear it? Okay. Right. Well, we gotta go on with the show.
I think so.
Okay,
It's not,
great.
I can't hear it. So, yeah, I thought, so my point was people were avoiding talking to the people they wanted to vote out and then using the fact that they hadn't talked to them as the reason to vote them out. And again, such an introverted thing to do. Oh, well, I haven't really talked to them, but I haven't talked to them because I deliberately didn't talk to them because they're the name that we're throwing out. And I'm going to feel super guilty if I talk to the person we were going to vote out. I loved it. I thought it was just the most introverted chaos we could have hoped for at their first tribal.
one of the interesting points that Eli makes here is someone voted incorrectly. They didn't mean to vote Joe. I wonder if that was on the first and second votes. Were they just confused? Did they think Morgan and Joe were the same person? Or do you think they didn't know what their name was? Or they were unsure what...
As to who that would have been. I'm going to guess it's my boy Oscar.
Yeah, Oscar. Yeah, I could see that as well.
Because I don't think he cared. So I think that was so interchangeable that when he probably got back to camp, they went, "Oh, well, I don't understand. We all voted for Morgan, right?" And he's like, "No, weren't we voting for Joe?"
Or maybe he didn't know the rules of like after the initial tie, you do a revote. Maybe he switched his vote and he thought he was voting to save the person that he voted for or something. I don't know.
There's a good chance he doesn't know the rules. And, you know, I think that someone else who hasn't given a lot of thought to the rules is this season's twist production. I'm just very disappointed that Joe got half a pointless idol and is now out of the game. Like, what was the point of any of that?
And it's not, she hasn't bequeathed it to anybody. It's just gone with her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should have been like a legacy event so she can gift it on the way out or something.
Well, I would like it if she can give it to someone at the edge. Let's say she doesn't get back in. It would be great if she could give it to somebody and say, hey, this is a half idol with Shane. You can use this to build something with Shane if I don't get back in. Like, I'd love something like that. I hope production would allow that to occur. But I am not the biggest fan of this twist. I feel like it should have become a full idol or something if someone got voted out. Also, I was reminded this episode that for some reason the shot in the dark is in this game, but only for 3 tribal councils. What the fuck is the point of that?
I don't understand that either. Eli,
I've
you're here. Any
done-
comments?
Why? And now we have knowledge is power. Ugh.
Is that too loud?
You much of a knowledge is power fan, Loz?
I
guess
think they're
not.
all stupid. You know how I feel about stupid, pointless advantages that add
I
nothing
asked
to the
you.
game and simply mean that good players get voted out based on stupid twists.
Yeah.
You leave that one.
I'm not a big fan of that, and also, I'm also found it strange that we didn't see anything from the Edge this episode. Historically, in seasons with an Edge, Sydney included, your season, Josh, or some form of redemption, like in your season, Loz, there's content at the redemption or Edge location to see how they're going on. I was surprised we didn't get any. I guess we might get the first one when Joe arrives and meets Nat, but I was surprised by not seeing a little bit about the Edge.
I was gonna say that if it was me, I'd probably be sitting there crying, and you probably wouldn't get pretty much any content other than me sitting there crying. So
I do think that Mac thought it might have had too much swearing. Greg from Uncharted Waters suggested he was hoping for some Ream-style Edge content from that. I think that could have been possible. Like, if she wasn't so distraught, she definitely could have been given full Ream Daily vibes.
Love Nat.
Is there anything in the introverts that really struck you? I know you're saying no one took charge, but what they did do was some of the introverts were very focused on protecting their core little groups that they formed. And I think that Tilly was the most, I would say, successful in this plan because I think Tyrone was potentially at risk. And if it wasn't for Tilly speaking for Tyrone and wanting to keep Tyrone, I think there's a good chance he could have gone here.
Yeah, I agree. Tilly was definitely advocating for him. That was said in multiple conversations. She was confident saying it in groups when people brought up Tyrone's name to her. She literally was like, well, I feel really close with Tyrone, and then they backed down. She really is a good ally.
Like, that's risky behavior early on, saying, nope, not going to vote them out. Yes, I want to work with them. Yes, I feel close to them. I don't care what you think. I know I said I'd work with you, but I like him better. Ballsy move.
Yeah, I agree. It's risky. It's ballsy, but she says it with confidence and in a way where the target was never turned on her. So maybe, she's very well insulated socially with everybody. I saw her as, I said in last week, I thought she had potential and seems like a good player. And this, goes with that same vibe. I would feel confident in her as an ally having my back. So yeah, I liked it, but after we saw what happened, it may come back to bite her, but I respect it definitely.
I find it interesting that she's also formed an alliance with Tyrone and Chris. I think she's sort of looked at people that people might not necessarily think would be her alliance. She's at one of the younger women on the tribe, and she's picked up the two oldest guys. I think is an interesting strategy, and then to really stick her neck out for them, I think is quite impressive. I also think that here's the votes for our information. Votes for Joe, we've got Beck, Tim, Morgan, and Chris. Votes for Morgan, Oscar, Ty, Joe, and Tilly. What I find really interesting about this is despite Tilly wanting to be very close to Chris and saying that she's happy as long as Chris and Tyrone remain, they're not all voting or haven't voted the same way in terms of Chris is voting with the other group.
Yeah, that is very interesting, actually. I didn't notice that. because now from those names listed, with Joe gone, Oscar, Tyrone, and Tilly are probably on the bottom of 4 versus 3. But maybe if Chris is so close to Tilly, she could pull him over, and then they become the majority of 4 versus the other 3.
I think that's a great point, because I don't think, despite the fact that there was a 4-4 and then a 3-3, I don't think there's too clear a 4 and a 3 here going into the next vote. I think that the group is more dynamic than that. I think it's the strangest 4-4-3-3 that I've ever seen. It's just so bizarre that these people. Oh my God, Loz is leaving us. that was random. She's had to go. Okay. Wasn't expecting that. Okay. Hopefully everything's all right with Loz. But that's all right. We'll keep the action going. Why don't we turn our mind to our favorites, the extroverts? Do you think I found it interesting how everyone seemed to put a lot of emphasis on Ian being the driver of the Nat vote, yet when they came back from Tribal, there was a lot of emphasis put on Dayo's involvement in that vote. Matt called him out as the one that made it happen. Were you surprised? I was surprised with that. That Ian's gone a little bit unscathed here.
Yeah, it did definitely seem like it was sort of Ian's doing, and Ian definitely came across as the biggest character last episode. But yeah, Dayo apparently was the one pushing it. So I didn't really get that in the edit, but obviously that must be what happened. That's what the players perceived. So it would be interesting if Dayo maybe is doing a lot more that somehow like isn't captured in the cameras. By the cameras, and he's a bigger character than we have come to notice.
What do you think about, has Mac finally, why is he not finding this idol? You know, it's an endless cycle of, where's the idol? Where's the idol? It maybe looks like he finds it on the next time, but why has this not been found as yet? Do you think this is super hard to find what's happening?
Well, he has the same clue as the other tribe does. So, like, is there an exact same log at both tribes that's like, you know, sort of not a real log. It's like a, you know, prop that both tribes have an identical one? Or is it in a communal location, like at tribal council or at like the challenge mat or something, and there is actually only one that can be obtained? There's not one in each tribe. That's what I was thinking, because I don't know. It seems a bit strange. What do you think?
It is a log with an X. Like, it's very possible that could be in both camps. It's not too descript. But potentially it is at tribal council. I believe that's a thought that someone, if you can remember who, that would be great, on the introvert tribe thought, especially noting that we've now seen a advantage be found at the challenge.
True.
The first challenge. So
yeah, what was that about? There wasn't a clue or anything with that, was there? It was just found randomly, and it was the knowledge is power one, yeah?
Yes, it was the knowledge is power advantage that was just randomly at that challenge. And Max coming to his own defense. He's saying the camp was a sizable area, and I was flat out just getting around to chatting people. Hard to find time to set your idols. I don't want to hear your excuses, Mac. I want you finding idols, please. It was just a bit randomly at the challenge, the knowledge is power, which I found a bit strange.
Yeah, I thought it was strange as well, because was it like in the middle of both, you know, tribes? So both tribes had the opportunity to see it, or was there one on both sides on top of some random crate, and like one tribe found it, the others didn't? Like, yeah, I think it could have been highlighted more because it wasn't, from what I saw, I don't think it was shown in real time, was it? It was only shown in a flashback.
Correct. Max says the knowledge and power was in near plain sight of the challenge. We saw it first and covered it with towers. Maddie forgot to credit her tribe mates. It's going to be a bit of an issue. This is not ideal for Mac, right? Because no one knows if Max got the idol. There's a suspicion that he might get the idol, but many people know the clue. Maddie isn't really aligned with Mac. Could she use the knowledge and power to take Mac's idol?
Yeah, possibly. And I think, well, in the preview, it did say it was Maddie, Ian, and Deo were commenting that they're scared of Mac. So I think that's definitely something that could happen. And Mac does seem to be, isn't he in the minority because Nat was his ally?
Yes.
Yeah. Who's the four again on the extroverts? It's Maddie, Ian, Deo. Oh, and is it Shane as well?
Shane. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, can we talk about Shane? Because he got like amazing character, like positive, complex personality, edgic, like credit on this episode. Like his backstory about how he was sick and his recovery from that and how he's just like taking it on the chin. He's like, yeah, it hasn't changed me. I've overcome all of this. Amazing. And I think that's really set him up for like a heroic possible winner edit. Like for me, that is like the biggest winner vibes I've seen on this whole show at this moment. So I thought that was amazing content from him.
I think you're spot on. It was a beautiful story. I don't think Shane is in danger of being voted out anytime soon. I think he's going to have very strong social capability. He's clearly strategic. I think, though, I get what you mean about the winner, but I feel like everyone's going to like Shane, and that's the sort of person that no one lets get to the final tribal council. He is, to me, screams someone getting taken out 5th, 4th, because they're going to win the game otherwise.
It's getting the fallen angel edit, maybe.
That's what I feel. The challenge was a bit of a disaster. It seemed like it took them a long time to complete. Do you know how to solve this puzzle, Josh? Do you know the secret source? I said I'd reveal it.
No idea. And, you know, I'm not a big fan of challenges in LRG, so I do zone out a little bit, unfortunately, but go for it.
Well, I did this puzzle in Playing with Fire, and it took a long time before I realized we should count the colors. And often there is one color that has much fewer squares than the rest of the colors. And then all you need to do is focus on that color being in a different spot, and you'll basically have the answer.
Okay, interesting. I'll remember that if I ever play again.
Yeah, so you and that's basically the solution. But it took me a long time to figure that out as well. But that's the soul. The introverts obviously came together in this episode, and we got a lot of content on the introverts. We talked a bit about Tilly and how she played an incredibly strong game by ensuring that Tyrone stay.
Mm-hmm.
Who else in the introverts did you enjoy and what they're bringing to the game in this episode?
So I think Tim is standing out to me as well. I mentioned that in the first episode. Yeah, solid player, good vibes, not giving any red flags. And he mentioned after they lost immunity, when they came back, he was like, I'm playing it cool. You know, I don't want to throw any names out. Like, he doesn't want to get blamed. But as Loz said, is that, you know, part of the character flaws of all the introverts, where they don't want to be the ones saying a name. So they're just indecisive all the time. So maybe, yeah, someone does need to step up a little bit and be more of a leader. And Tim definitely doesn't want that to be himself.
Who was Tim spending a lot of his time with? Was that Morgan that he's quite connected to?
Beck and Morgan. I think he
Yeah.
said he said his closest allies were Morgan and Beck. Yeah.
And I think I get the impression that Beck is the sort of person who wants to take a bit of charge, but she's trying really hard not to. Danny says she's absolutely fierce on the netball court. I presume she uses her voice. I think she's trying really hard to not be that person, though when they got to the rocks, almost rocks risk, she was the one that sort of pushed hard to say, no, one of them's got to go. And obviously it's not going to be Morgan, who's one of her closest allies. If Morgan had gone, that would have been a really negative situation. I feel like Jo, who we gave a lot of compliments to for the way she played the half idle situation in terms of being coming up with the second puzzle. I feel like maybe because she was away for that additional time, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like anyone was as connected to Jo as Tim and Beck were connected with Morgan. That pushed Beck to then raise her voice, push to not go. No one should go to rocks here, but to say no, because losing Morgan would be bad for her. I don't feel like anyone was of the mindset that losing Jo was critically bad for their game.
Well, mostly agree with that, but it was Tilly who stood up for Jo at the end, wasn't it? At the tribal, she said, yeah, Tilly was quite bold, and she said, I want to keep Jo. And then the decision's made that Jo's going to go. So that's like how Tilly kind of is on a bit of a downwards trajectory right now by being bold, sticking up for Tyrone, sticking up for Jo. And now Jo's gone and she's on the bottom with Tyrone and with Oscar. Is she aligned with Oscar? I can't remember. I don't think so.
I don't know if anyone's really like aligned with Oscar. I am surprised about Oscar's vote here. It just didn't seem to align with the conversations we were seeing. Maybe this is the mistake vote that Eli has referenced, as you and Loz suggested. What I found interesting about Oscar is in his first episode, we got a lot of content about how funny it would be to vote out someone who came from Melbourne and, you know, vote out someone who really cares and whatever. But when it actually moved to the first episode and the strat chat, he wasn't so, like, it would almost feel like he perhaps got a bit overwhelmed by all of those conversations. And I think there were a lot of conversations based on the edit. And someone who's not super familiar with Survivor, who's learning as he goes, probably found that quite not confronting, but, you know, maybe surprising that there was so many discussions happening in so many private groups. 3-4 names are all getting thrown out everywhere. It's possible, and I'm hoping that he will find his character moving forward. But I think perhaps he got a bit surprised by what a strat chat can be like.
Yeah, I definitely think that's what could have happened. He definitely seems like he doesn't really know the game of Survivor. And yeah, it was a bit too full on. I mean, I laughed because there was one confessional where he was like, yeah, you know, talking about tribal council, but he couldn't even name what it was. He was like, yeah, that thing where we eliminate someone. Like, he didn't even know what it was called. So he definitely is in over his head.
That was giving me a little bit of vibes of Nick from Brisbane Survivor, you know, going into Final Five or whatever it is, and he's like, the nerds on the council or the jury, whatever the fuck it's called, they love that sort of shit. When he was talking about some strategic move he was making, that's the sort of thing I think Oscar's got similar vibes to him. I think Chris has done a really good job ingratiating himself into this tribe. Chris had the potential to be a bit of an odd man out. Potentially with Tyrone. I guess Beck is not, older, not old, but older. Chris, has massive dad vibes, right? Like, and everyone else, and he's got kids. Everyone else is mostly, there's a lot of young people in this tribe. He's really done a great job. His name was not even a target, and it's a real mix of Tilly wanting to work with him, other people liking his vibes, Oscar just loving, and others loving how he got in the water and grabbed the ski. And I found it really, really bizarre that just like Ian blamed Natalie's failure to also get in the water and grab their paddleboard for the loss of the challenge. Everyone was basically saying the reason they won the challenge was because Chris jumped in the water and grabbed the surf ski. I'm like, you were on that puzzle for like 40 minutes. None of this ski shit mattered.
Yeah.
But the same narrative was happening on the introverts tribe that was happening in the extroverts, which I thought was absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, everyone was loving that move from the challenge. And Tilly was saying something early on about like, oh, we don't want to play dirty, but they played dirty first. They started it and then we got them back. So they're happy to like engage in a bit of back and forth, but the introverts definitely don't want to be the ones starting the nastiness. And then that made me think of, it's kind of giving me like a bit of heroes versus villain energy rather than like introverts, extroverts. And definitely, Ian is very Russell Hantz energy. So yeah, I could see that kind of becoming a vibe.
What do you think about a bit of dirty play? Like, we've played before, you played, I played. And when it comes to challenges, I'll bend the rules any way I can. If I see an advantage, if I can gain the challenge in any way. But I probably would never do or even think to do what Chris did. Not that I have a problem with what Chris did. It's just my mind wouldn't go there. What about yourself?
Yeah, I agree. Like, I'm all about, like finding any way to win, but I wouldn't want to do things like that are overly dirty or nasty or like that kind of stuff. I think that's a bit beyond the game. Like, I hate in Survivor when people, I mean, it's part of the game, but I hate when people are like, oh, I want to quit, just vote me out. And then when everyone votes for them, then they play an idol. Like, I think that's beyond. Like, I hate that. I think that's unfair stuff like that. I don't like that.
No, I'm down with that. I'm talking about the challenge. In the heat of the strategically, everything's fine. There's no rules. But in the challenge, that's sportsmanship. I actually don't mind what Chris did. And it's made him a bit of a cult hero to his tribe. Like, this is the really interesting factor of, because it's such a big thing to do, the introvert group are really like blown away by, Chris's, say, confidence to do something like that. And he's made him their little cult hero, which I think went a long way to his name not being out there this evening, even though he didn't have like a core group that was looking after him. Tilly was obviously looking after him, but she didn't really need to in the way that she needed to protect Tyrone. What do you think Tyrone did wrong to have his name out there? People felt that he hadn't communicated with them much from what we heard from them.
Yeah, I don't know really. Like, maybe was he just rubbing people up the wrong way? But then it seems like he's definitely ingratiated himself with Tilly. So it's not like he's being unlikable completely. She obviously sees the good side of him. So I don't really know why everyone else doesn't seem too fond of him. I don't know.
I think, what do you think is going to happen?
Good point, Mac.
It gives more rivalry. Yeah, the themes,
True.
the introverts and extroverts. Yeah, I like themed seasons. I think there's a strong agreement amongst Survivor fans that they would prefer the themes to return,
Mm.
as against 42, 43, 44, whatever.
Sick of that.
And I think it's good in LRGs as well. I enjoy themes. I enjoy having a clear direction with the group, and it allows for good people that aren't as good at confessionals. It gives them structure. As an extrovert, I like blah blah blah. Why don't we talk? I think we've really covered the introverts. Let's flip back a bit more to the extroverts. We talked about Shane's story. We talked about how everyone's thinking that Deo is the ringleader, that he has to be watched out. It did feel like Maddie's misfits, as we were calling them, was potentially alert to looping Mac in to their group of 5. They referred to them being a 5, that they should have Mac, putting Isabel and Rissa really at the bottom, which I think I can see, unless someone wants to change the game and make a move on that power structure. Where do you see, where do you see that power structure, the Maddie's Misfits power structure, holding up, or do you see it imploding because everyone wants to be the star and the leader of the extroverts?
I could see it holding, to be honest, because I think Maddie and Shane are level-headed enough to keep Ian and Deo in check and under their guard and watch. And I think they're going to see Mac more as a threat. Like, I don't remember them mentioning trying to bring him in, so maybe I missed that. But then from the preview, it looks like they're highlighting Mac as a threat, which, if I were them, I mean, I would work with Mac, definitely. Like, I would be wanting to go to the other side rather than Maddie's Misfits. But if I were them, I would be seeing Mac as a threat. And then he also has this idol clue that doesn't everybody know about. So they're probably thinking, oh, we're not tight with him. There's a swap coming up, and wanting to just cut him and get rid of that threat of an idol.
Wouldn't the idol be useful, though, in a swap situation?
True. Oh, well, maybe actually maybe they want to make him find it, use the knowledge is power, steal it, and then vote him out anyway. That would be pretty extroverted.
It would be amazing, actually. I think a knowledge is power be really hard to use in an LRG. Not hard as in, to find someone with an advantage and to, actually doing it. I'm sure it'd be fine for you because you Francesca'd Holly. But, taking someone's idol, everyone after the game is always like, it's all good, it's a game, whatever, you voted me out, we're all friends. I don't think people would feel that way about you if you stole their idol with the knowledge of power and then voted them out, especially if there was a blind side involved, like they thought you were aligned. I reckon that's one people don't forgive.
Yeah, it would be pretty nasty, but it's within the game, That would be a move that, while I would frown upon it, it would be above board. But stealer votes are a thing, and they're pretty accepted. That's stealing a resource from somebody. So a knowledge is power is just an amped up version of that, really.
I don't particularly love knowledge versus power, to be honest. But one place I thought it could really excel, it's a bit lost now, is it would have been really good if Shane used it to get the other half of the idol from Joe. I wonder if that would have been permitted. Can I, Joe, do you have half an idol? Yep, great, thank you. And then he's got the full idol. I don't know if that would be allowed. Amazing.
That would literally be amazing. It does say, though, didn't it say when they read that it's non-transferable? Does transferable mean when you hand it to somebody, or does the knowledge is power stealing it count as a transfer? I don't know.
I would say it doesn't, but you're right. Those rules are not clear. I hope they're being clarified for the cast. It doesn't really matter because Joe got voted out. But I think that could be a really interesting dynamic if they allowed it to occur. I really do hope this half idol can remain in the game in an interesting way because of the edge. As I said, I hope Joe will pass it on to somebody if she doesn't make it back. Or if Shane ends up there as well, they both give their halves to like the whoever gets back from the edge, because you would, right? Like if you're out of the game, you'd give it to the person. Fuck everyone else. The people on the edge they're united. Okay, well, I think, is there anything else you want to talk about the episode before we get into what's happening next week and the Brommy of the episode?
Let me just have a quick skim of my notes. But Maddie has an interesting comment. If you want to highlight that while I have a little look.
Maddie has just mentioned that at this point in the game, it was quite fluid. There was a 7-1 on Nat, so they hadn't had a chance to draw a line on the alliances yet. I do get that, but it certainly felt like that was a 4-4 that flipped at Tribal to be the 7-1. And Maddie's group, and she was there, I wasn't. I'm just saying what I saw on the screen, felt like they were core and they brought everyone else into. So to me, there is a line, but it may be that Rissa, Belle, and Mac are not aware of what that line is. But if you could work out who got brought in at Tribal and who didn't, you'd have to be pretty observant to realize that. But if you could see that as it unfolded, you would know where the numbers sit.
One last thing I wanted to say is, there was a moment where Chris highlighted Tyrone and Tim as threats and that they have the knowledge and know-how of all the chats. And Chris said he's worried about Tim as a threat.
Yeah, I thought Chris was
coming to play.
I don't know why he was worried about Tyrone, and he's going to have to get over that because I think he needs to work with Tilly, and if she wants both of them, I think that's a strong position to go. But I think that was really savvy on Chris. I think he's a very observant, smart player, and I think Tim is absolutely a major threat. We've talked about this last episode, and he's playing really, really well, playing quite under the radar, but socially very effective. And I think that Chris is really smart to have clocked Tim as a real long-term threat. I don't think Tyrone is such a long-term threat because Tyrone doesn't, his name was out there. He appears to rub some people the wrong way or didn't speak to them sufficiently for them to feel comfortable about Tyrone. He seems like he's got a bit of nervous energy happening. I don't see Tyrone as in real life. I think he's charming, but I think that in the game right now, I think that he's not on the same level as Tim in terms of the social and strategic sort of analysis that's occurring.
Yeah, I agree. I think from my point of view now, who I could see as people who are potential winners, it would be probably Mac, Shane, Tim, and then maybe Tilly, maybe Chris, maybe Maddie. They're the ones I'm looking out for.
I don't think Chris is going to win, but I think he's savvy though. I think maybe he gets under the radar too. I think Tim will eventually pop up. We're saying he's under the radar now, but I think other people will clock Tim eventually. He just gives the aura of someone who's going to be a good player, and people eventually figure that out. Okay, what do you think is going to happen next week? Firstly, if the extroverts go back to tribal council.
Yeah, I think there'll be chaos, something to do with Mac's idol. I think Maddie's misfits will stay strong and the target will, maybe they're going to bluff Mac to play his idol or something, and then they'll vote out Izzy or Rissa. Maybe Rissa. I feel like Rissa could be some cannon fodder. She doesn't seem to know the game much. I could maybe see that happening.
I think she knows the game because she's applied for Australian Survivor 1 billion times, I think. I thought that Rissa was going to build bonds with Ian and Shane. To me, they seem like similar people, similar level of life experience.
Yeah.
I don't want to cast dispersions on people, but Shane likes to race cars, and Rissa gives me the vibes of someone who likes to watch people race cars.
Yeah,
Could be
they'd
wrong.
definitely be into like NASCAR racing
Yeah.
if they're American.
Yeah. So, and that's just the vibes. And so I thought, those were my vibes. So I thought they would get similar vibes on the day. No, it's not old. Did you not hear my race car example, Mac? Maybe that was a bit before. Race cars. Uh, shame on me for what? The race car thing.
Ageism.
You're the one complaining. He's the one complaining about the age of everybody. Like he had another post up here. Hang on, where's his ages post? Something like Chris. I don't. So I'm a bit of a loss of what happened. I think Isabel could go as well.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, she probably has less in common with that bogany group that you're trying to identify, CK.
I didn't use the word bogan. That wasn't my word.
No, I said
it. And then what's going to happen on the introverts tribe after their clusterfuck of a tribal council? I think the Morgan group will solidify with Beck and Tim. I think they will lock in. I think Tilly will want to keep trying to save who she's saving. I think she'll either get identified for that and be taken out because she's working too hard to save people, or they'll accept that there's their three and the other three, and Chris will be the deciding vote. Thing is, I don't think Oscar is really with them, so it could be they bring Oscar back in, and then it is a 4-3 situation. In which case, I think they go Tilly because I think she's the one who's pushing her agenda, trying to save people.
Yeah, and while I respect it, obviously as a viewer and she's someone who I would like, I would love to align with her. Like I feel like I would vibe with her, and especially how she's strong in backing up her allies. Like that's how I like to play, and I'm loyal to people. But yeah, if I was not one of the people she's trying to back up, she is definitely someone where you'd be like, well, she's not got my back, she's got everyone else's or other people's, so let's get her out.
Yeah.
I hope not, though. Hope not.
I think
she's charming. She's charming. Maybe she can worm her way out of it.
It'll be her or Tyrone, and that's sad. Tyrone, of course, the people's champion. We want him to remain in the game. We do now, though, need to determine who is the Brommy of this episode. We had a lot of options for episode 1. I'd say we have less options for episode 2. So, I'm happy to take body of work nominations as well. But are there anyone that jumps out for you? Loud and proud, narcissistic, and strong-arming?
Not really, to be honest with you. I mean, Chris had like a visibility spike and talk, he was spoken about with his stuff in the challenge. Like the challenge actions he took were very Orca-ish, but they actually happened last episode, not this one. So who won it last time? Was it Ian?
We gave it to Ian. We might be looking at a bit of the strong arming, right? And as Danny said, Tilly strong-armed people into not voting for Tyrone. She was effective in that. She wasn't particularly subtle. I guess the other.
She did try to strong arm to keep Joe at tribal as well, and she was bold in saying that in front of everybody. So actually, yeah, she has at least 2 examples there of the strong arming.
Now Beck also was the one vocally trying to protect Morgan, similarly at the rocks option. But if we're just looking at strong arm tactics without some narcissism in there. About some loud and proud. Max says a failed attempt to strong arm is a weak arm. Perhaps that's very good.
Maybe.
I'm feeling Tilly for this episode, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I would go with Tilly.
Oh, Danny's campaigning for Beck though. She pulled them all into line.
I
I'm
didn't
just
really notice Beck doing it much. Maybe because I was more focused on Tilly because she's someone I like vibe with more from watching it. So I was more locked in on Tilly doing it and noticing that rather than Beck.
all right. I think we're good with Tilly. It's two of us. Then Tilly is going to be the Brommy of this episode. Congratulations, Tilly.
Go
You know, we'll keep our mind on Beck. You know, sometimes there will be body of work nominations. And look, Danny also agrees on Tilly. So well done, Tilly. You are now in the running to join the illustrious Congress of the Orcas. Thank you, everyone who joined us this evening live. Thank you, Loz, for the brief window. I think I got the times a bit wrong, and Loz is a busy woman, so apologies for that. But she was causing the audio issues, we've determined. So once she left, that actually improved the audio quality of the program. So sad to see her go, but pleasantly good to have the audio work. Thank you to everyone that stuck through the audio issues, including you, Greg, who stayed up late for this just for the bad audio. Thank you for that, Greg. It was very awkward of you to say that. I know you still cut. You didn't get it. Thank you to everyone in the comments. Thank you to everyone that watches us after the fact. We do appreciate you. We love you, just not as much. Mel is in the chat and she's excited to see you. Thank you, Mel. The next episode will drop on Wednesday, and we'll be back next Monday to talk about all the action. Until then, we shall dance.
Where's the song?
Yeah, sorry. If you don't already, like and subscribe, all right? We need your love. Until then, we shall see you